Parashat Noach, Tufshi and Paivuv, B'siyata Dishmaya. We're starting Be'ezras Hashem, the winter's man, Parashat Noach. Today is Rosh Chodesh Cheshvan. Actually, the real name of the Chodesh is Mar Cheshvan. Some people think that the name is Cheshvan, and Mar is like additional word, like by Chodesh Uv, the name of the Chodesh is Uv, and you add Menachem Uv. But the truth is that I once even was in London on Shabbos Mevorchim, Chodesh Cheshvan, and there was over there a Trisker Einikel. He was called the Trisker Rebbe from London, Reb Chaimoni Tversky, Zechreine Levruche. And when he said the Birchas HaChodesh, the Chodesh Mar Cheshvan is coming up, Yeh B'yoyim, he said, instead of Mar Cheshvan, he said Rom Cheshvan.
That's what we say here.
Over here too?
Yeah.
Rom Cheshvan, you say over here?
Yeah.
Wow. He told me that that's the Minigan Trisk. He was a Trisker Einikel, a Trisker Rebbe. And what's the sib over here? Also because of Trisk.
Shlomo Karlebach.
Yeah.
Reb Shlomo Karlebach, he used to say Rom Cheshvan.
Yeah. I don't remember the teaching.
I've heard of many places.
Many places?
I've heard of many places.
Dios is geht amul? Never. I only heard it over there. Wow. So, but it's a little bit interesting. I want to say why. Because it seems like Mar is a word that could mean bitter. Because in Hebrew, Mar could be bitter. So if you say Mar Cheshvan is like another word, Mar Cheshvan. So they wanted to exchange it. Mar should be turned over into Rom Cheshvan. But Lamase, it's one word, Mar Cheshvan. And that's the name of the Chodesh, Mar Cheshvan. And I don't even know exactly, we're going to see in a minute what's the definition of the word, but Chazal say that all of the names of the Chadoshim from Nisan till Adar came from Bovel. When Ezra came up with the Goyle Bovel, that's when they brought along those names. Before, it's always said in the Torah, Chodesh Rishon, Chodesh Hashayni, Nisan is Chodesh Rishon. In the Megillah, already it says Chodesh name Osor, Hi Chodesh Adar, Megillah Esther, that's already after. So those names come from Bovel. Now we could think Nisan we can understand very pashit, because in that month there was a lot of Nisan for Klal Yisrael. So in Aramic, in Bovel, Nisim, you say Nisan. Now Tishrei is in Aramic is the beginning. It's the beginning of the year, Tishrei. You start off the year. I once saw a very Gishmak Pshat and Sefer HaToda'ah from Rabbi Eliyahu Kitoiv. He explains that the Targum says in Parashat Shlach, V'yasuru as Eretz Canaan. They should go looking, searching. When you want to be meragel, V'yasuru as Eretz Canaan. The Targum defines the word V'yasuru, V'ya'alalin. V'ya'alalin. So El in Aramic is Meloshen, to look, to search, to find, because you want to nach Pesod Rachenu v'nach Koira v'nashiva al Hashem Chodesh El. So it passed that this Chodesh should be called El. Now, yesterday was the yahrzeit of the Tzemach Tzaddik from Vishnitz, the Menachem Mendel from Vishnitz. He was an Eidem, a son-in-law of the Holy Originer. And Shabbos is the yahrzeit of the Holy Originer, Gimel Cheshvan. Now, he brings down the Tzemach Tzaddik in a Sefer, what he heard from his father-in-law, the Holy Originer. That the Holy Originer said, the reason why this Chodesh is called Mar Cheshvan, it's from the Lashon HaGemara, Rechishe, Merachshen, Sifevasei. The Gemara says in Masechta Megillah that a person, when he has to wait before starting to daven, let's say if he had to go out, like in toilet, if he had to even only ketanim, so the Gemara says he should wait Hilach Dalet Ames, and only then he should start davening between one tefillah and the other tefillah, like from Shachris to Misif. Now we had Shachris and Misif. If you daven one right after the other, so it's a Gemara in Masechta Bruchas, in the end of the fourth Peirik Tefillah Sashachar. The Gemara also says you should wait Hiluch Dalet Ames from one tefillah to the next. And the Gemara in Megillah explains why. Because the time of Hiluch Dalet Ames it's still Rechish Marachshin Sifivase. That means his lips are still going, even when you close a washing machine, it still spins. Even when it finishes, it takes a while till it stops, yeah? The same Zach, when you daven, your mouth is so used to saying and saying and saying, so when you finish, you still didn't finish. It's a dayan Rechish Marachshin Sifivase, your lips are still turning and Marachshin. So you wait Hiluch, the Shir of Hiluch Dalad Amis, how long it takes to walk 4 Amis, and then you could start the Nushim and Esne. Says the Heilige Rishon, that's how his son-in-law brings down the Tzemach Tzaddik. After such a month of Tishrei, we were so busy, full of davening, Rosh Hashanah, Aseres Yom Tshiva, Yom Kippur, Sikkis, Oshaynes. So after such a month, the whole month of Cheshvan is Rechish Merachshin Sifevase, and that's Semar Cheshvan. Our lips are still going on and saying and talking and davening the whole time to Hashem. So according to this, it's like we said, one word, and the definition of the word is an Aramic Merachshin, that the lips are still being Merachshin. Now interesting, someone showed me that in this Siddur, Techalel, this is a Sfardish Siddur, Techalel, it's from the Minik Taimon, Nusach Baladi, Minik Hele Kedoishe and Taimon. In this Siddur, Techalel, when it comes to the Birchas HaChodesh, before Misif, he brings down the Lashon, and over there it says, we say Rosh Chodesh, this is Rosh Chodesh, Beyoyim Hazeh V'Hazeh, and over there he brings downstairs in the bottom, L'Te'ela Satzibir, we're going to write the names of the Chadoshim according to our Girse. And he starts with Cheshvan, and he brings down that the Nikud of the word Mar Cheshvan is not like we say Mar Cheshvan. The Nikud is, he mentioned before, Ram Cheshvan. Yeah, Givaldi. But he says that the Nikud should be Merach Shevon. Merach Shevon. Very interesting. Otherwise, he brings down Kislev, Taivis, Shevot, Ador. Here he brings down Ayor. Not Iyor, Ayor. But B'Cheshvan he says Merach Shevon. So that's mamish like the Heilige Rishon explains that the definition of the word B'Cheshvan in Aramic is Rechish Merach Shevon Sevevosei. Over here we see in this city that that's the really nikud of this word. But Hashem should help. It should be Takerom Cheshvan. Why not Rom? Everybody should have an Aliyah, Rom Asker and Yisrael, Rom Asker and Atoyre.
I heard also Shamor Chaim.
Shamor?
Shamor Chaim.
Oh.
Hashem loves our, he loves us now, not because of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. He loves just.
Gewaldig. He says Mar Cheshvan is Zoisius Shamor Chaim, because we see last week's Parashat. Actually, how do you say Chaim in English?
Favor. Find favor. Yeah.
Find favor. Last week we finished the Parashat Bereshis. It says V'Noach motza Chaim be'einei Hashem. That Noach found favor in the eyes of Hashem. And the Medrash brings down that actually Noach, according to Midas Adin, Noach will also have to die together with the Doira Mabul. The reason why he stayed alive was because he found favor by Hashem. Hashem says, Emche, I want to wipe out as Adam Asher Barosi Mal Pneu Adamo. V'Noach Motzachein Be'inei Hashem. Why Taka did he find favor? So the Zohar HaKodesh says, because he was Noach. His name tells us, teaches us why he found favor. Noach means he was easygoing. Noach lo elyonim, Noach le tachtoinim. The Mishnah says, Kol shruach habriyos Noach amenu, ruach hamokim Noach amenu. So because he was Noach labriyos, Noach la shomayim, that's why he found favor by Hashem.
Think about, because if he was chilled out, then his whole tafkid was to seem like a crazy person, that he's not chilled out, but the world's about to end, He's going to everybody, telling everyone the flood is coming, and he's putting his whole nature is the exact opposite of that.
Actually, he didn't go around. We're going to maybe speak about this. There was a little bit of taina Noach. That's what it says in Chazal, why he didn't go around and tell Musir they should do tshuva. He only built the taiva, and if anyone asked him, he explained, you should know there's about to come a mabul. That's why the mabul is called in Tanakh Mei Noach.
Right.
The waters of Noach. Why Mei Noach? Because another time, not only he was supposed to do more musa with the oilam, he was supposed to daven to Hashem for them. That's why. Now I just want to explain what we started. Actually, why do we say that Noach was really? If the Torah says he was a ish tzaddik, tzaddik tomim, why do we say that Chazal say actually Noach was also about to die together with the Deira Mabel? He just found favor by Hashem. The Meforshim explain a gewaltige Sache, like we said now. What was the Iker Chet of Deira Mabel we see in this week's Parsha? Ki molla ha'oretz chomos. That was, Rashi says, Lo nechtam gizar dinam elu ala gezel. They were full of chomos. Chomos means stealing, taking away something from another person. Noach had epis shaychus to chomos. Where do we see as a shaychus to chomos? Next week's parsha, when Sarah Emuna, after Hagar had the child, Sarah Emuna comes to Avram, and she tells Avram Avinu, Vatoy mesorai al Avram chamosi olecha. Rashi explains, Chomos ha'osuli, the chomos that was done to me, I throw the blame on you. Olecha animatilu oynish. Why? Because when you daven to Hashem Yisborech that you don't have children, unoichi hoylech hariri, you were a little bit selfish maybe. You davened only for yourself. And that's why Hashem gave you children from Hagar. You should have davened also for me. And if I would be included in that tefillah, Hashem would help that I would have the child that you were supposed to have. And that's why he has a taina on Avram Avinu, Sarah Emunu, calling him, telling to him, saying to him, Chamosi Alecha. Why Chamosi Alecha? So we see from it that Chamos doesn't only mean when you take away, you steal something. If you had the ability to daven for someone, pray for him, bring him a salvation, a Yeshua, and you didn't do it, it's also considered the Chomos. Now, if Noach Hazal say, so that means he had epis shaychus also to Chomos. He should have davened for them, and he didn't do that. Now we could understand the Chazal, even though he was a tzaddik tomim. But if the aveira of Deira Mabel was Chomos, and Noach also had a little bit of shaychus, and that's why the Mabel is called the Mei Noach, he had to have a special finding favor by Hashem in order he should be saved. For Noach Motzochein by Hashem. So according to that, you're saying Shemoyer Chein. That Chein means finding favor even when there's no reason. Like we ask for Hashem, a pasuk in Parshas Kisisa, v'chanoisi as Asher Ochoin. Hashem says, v'richamti as Asher Arachim. And the Gemara explains what's the pshat. I'm going to be choinen those who I want to be choinen. I am going to be merachim, have mercy on those that I want to have rachmanis. What's the pshat? The Gemara says, Afal pi she'eino yagun, v'afal pi she'eino chedai. Hashem has a midah of rachum v'chanin, even if the person is not worthful. He's not worth for it. He's not hagun. He's not kedai. V'chanoisi, I want to be in choinen as asher achoin, because I want so. V'richamti as asher arachim. Now, usually, what's the kfeilas? There's an interesting Teferet Shloimeh. We could combine it to what we spoke now. Teferet Shloimeh says, when a person davens for another person, in such a case, even both of them aren't really worthful to have a salvation, to have the Yeshua, but Hashem likes it so much that one he davens for the other, he helps both of them. And he explains, Afal Pishaynei Hogun refers to the one who is davening. Afal Pishaynei Chedai refers to the one that is davening for him. V'chanoisi asasher ochoin, v'rechamti asasher arachim, side the one that was davening, and also for the person that he was davening for him, both of them are going to have a Yeshua, because I have chein and rachum, if that's the case. And that's the word, even Noach didn't daven, was still v'noach motzachein be'enei Hashem. So you say Shemoyer Chai means even though when we don't have, like at Chilat Tzadikim said, we say in the Zemiras of Friday night, Lail Shabbos, Yeiravo Kamei, the Sishrei Alamei. So they explain that we ask Hashem that the holiness of Chodesh Tishrei should stay for the whole year. Yeiravu Kamei, the Sishrei, that the Chodesh Tishrei Alame should stay the whole time on the nation of Klal Yisrael, that we should see the Ashpah, the oil of Chodesh Tishrei. But like you say, and even if Chazal Shulam Klal Yisrael aren't always wordful, Chein that Hashem gives for Yiddische Kinder, Aval Pi She'eina Yagun, Aval Pi She'eina Chedai, this should always stay Bezrat Hashem. Now let's see. The Pasuk starts, Eile Toil des Noach, Noach ish tzadik tomim hoya b'deroisov, esu alekim esalech Noach. The Pri Megadim has a sefer, Tevas Goyme. Pri Megadim is on the Shulchan Aruch. And he also has a sefer on Torah, a small sefer, Tevas Goyme. He also mentions, he explains this pasuk with what we spoke now. He says, the Gemara says in Ksubis, if you see a Talmud Chacham, a Rav of a Kehillah, and everybody loves him, you should know the reason is why. Not because he's so good, because he doesn't tell them Musa. I know that Gemara. You heard it. Hai tzurve merabona. The merachmel lei b'nei Mose. The people of his city love him, not because he's better than the others, just because he's not giving them Musa. When a tzaddik, a Rav, gives Musa, always he has people that they can't take it. Some of them like it, love it even, and they understand that that's for the good, for their best. But some can't. If you see everybody, so he explains, he says usually a tzaddik, while he's alive, not everybody says he's a tzaddik. After he's nifter, wow, he was such a big tzaddik. Like there's a Ramaz, they say in the Parshas, Achrei Mois Kedoshim Emor. Achrei Mois, after he died, Kedoshim Emor, you say that he was a Kadosh. But when he lived, everybody had something to say about him. That's the reason, because he told them Misr. Noach, it says, he was a Ish Tzadik Tomim Hoya B'deroisov. In his generations, he was considered the Tzadik Tomim. So the Pasuk goes on and he says, you know why? Esu Alekim Esalach Noach. He went with Hashem. He wasn't mixed. He wasn't blended into with the oilem to tell them Misr, to tell them what they have to change for the better. So because it was Esu Alekim Esalach Noach, they didn't have nothing against him, so he was considered the Tzaddik Tomim Moed B'Derosav. In his generation, even while he was alive, he was considered the Tzaddik Tomim. That's how the Pri Megadim explains. The Chidah brings down in one of his forum in the name of the Holy Beis Yosef, Gewaltige Pshat. In the beginning of the Parashat, it says, Noach was a Ish Tzaddik Tomim Moed B'Derosav. Afterwards, when it comes to Sheni, and Hashem tells Noach he should go into the Taiva, Hashem tells Azoi, Vayomer Hashem leNoach, Boyato v'chol beischo el ha'teiva. Why? Ki oischa ro'isi tzadik lefonai b'doir hazeh. I saw you as a tzaddik, righteous, for me b'doir hazeh, in this doir. Now why over here it only says tzaddik, and at the beginning it says tzaddik tomim. So Rashi brings down a Gemara Erevin, that befonav of a person, in front of a person, you don't say his whole shvach. You only say miktzas shvachoy. In back of him, not in front of him, you could say the whole shvach. So when the Torah speaks about Noach in general, the Pasuk says Noach was a ish tzaddik tomim moed b'derosav. When Hashem talks to him directly, Hashem doesn't tell him you're a tzaddik tomim. Hashem only gives him miktzas shvachoy. Hashem tells him ois chorisi tzaddik lefonai b'doir hazeh. Doesn't mention tzaddik tomim. Yeah, that's a Gemara. Rashi brings it down. Before I go back to the Beis Yosef, I just want to add, a lot of the tzaddikim asked the kasha that l'choire, it should say in the Gemara and in Rashi not miktzas, it should say rather machtzis. You say befonov, half, 50%, and not the whole. Miktzas usually refers, if you want to define the word miktzas, it means like 25%, 30%. It's a miktzas. Over here, shaloi befonov, not in front of Noach, Hashem calls him tzaddik tomim, so he has 2 milas. And when you speak to him, you call him a tzaddik. So how much is tzaddik from tzaddik tomim? 50%. So why is the lashon miktzas shevachoy you say befonov? It should say even more than miktzas. Machtzis shevachoy should be befonov, 50%, and 100% you say shaloi befonov. So a lot of the tzaddikim answer the same answer, a gewaldige answer. We think that in the beginning the pasuk mentions on Noach 2 milas, tzaddik tomim. No, he mentions 3 milas. Ish tzaddik tomim. He was a man. He was a normal man. He was a man that's also a gewaldi. He was menschlich. How do you say menschlich in English? His behavior was, his manners, his behavior, he was He was menschlich.
He was a mensch.
He was a mensch. La'olam yei adam. First you have to be a mensch. Huh?
Yeah.
Mensch is in the dictionary.
Yeah, pretty sure. Yeah.
Again, what is?
Mensch is in the English dictionary.
Yeah, mensch is a word in the English dictionary. Unbelievable.
Fine, upstanding individual.
Right.
Fine, upstanding individual. Gewaldig.
Very, very efficient the way English.
I would have it.
So if the pasuk speaks about Noach in general, and the pasuk says, yeah, if the pasuk speaks about Noach in general, he says he was ish tzaddik tomim. So it says about him 3 miles. He was a ish and a tzaddik and a tomim. Now when Hashem speaks to him and Hashem says, I saw you as a tzaddik is only a mikzas because it's only a third from ish tzaddik tomim, so it's taki keseret mikzas. Now let's go back to the pshat, what we said that the Bes Yosef says. The holy Bes Yosef, the Chizuk brings down in his name as another pshat. Why over here it says tzaddik tomim in the beginning, and by Shani it only says tzaddik lefonai b'doir hazeh. He says, let's see, Noach lived in 2 generations. The first door that he lived was the Doir HaMabel. The second generation was in the end of this parsha, the Doir HaFloge. By Nimrod, that they wanted to go Chaz v'Sholem and fight Shamayim. Now Noach was always different than all other people in his Doir. He was different. Now, by being different, Doir HaMabel was the Ikechet. We mentioned before that the Gzardin was on Chomas, on Gezel. But what the Pasuk mentions the whole time is Vatishoches Oretz, Ki Hishchis Kolbosor. What's how do you say in English Vatishoches? They like the Hishchis Kolbosor. They
Slaughter?
no, it means,
Shochet.
no, Ki Hishchis. They damaged, not damaged. Oh, you have a good chumash that has in English. Vatishoches Oretz. Rashi. What? Corrupted. And Rashi explains, Chazal explained that the ikir of the corruption was aroyes. Ki ishchis kolbosser as dark, even the behemoths and the chayes were niskokin l'she'enon minon. Now, if someone is different than his generation, how do you express his maila? He is a tzaddik. Tzaddik is the hepech, that's the opposite of ashchose. The opposite of corruption is tzaddik. If ashchose means Indian of aroyos, the opposite is tzaddik. Yosef HaTzaddik. Bakim gets his title as Yosef HaTzaddik when he was Oymed Ben Yisoyen from Potiphar. Now the chet of the Doir HaFluga was that they were koifrim b'Hashem and they wanted to serve Avodah Zarah, the idols. Now the one who is opposite, the hepech of Doir HaFluga is Tomim Tiyem Hashem Alekechu, to believe in Hashem, live between us with Hashem. I want to just be mafsik something. Last week's parsha is Bereshis. It starts Bereshis Boro Elokim Es Hashomayim Ves Haaretz. Now the Rosh Tevis of Bereshis Boro Elokim Es is Beis Aleph Aleph. Bereshis Boro Elokim Es. Beis Aleph Aleph. It says in the name of the Apterov, the Oyev Yisrael, it's the same Rosh Tevis like the Posik. Becho Botachti Al Evoisha. Hashem, I. Bitochen is, I, in English, I trust. Becho Botachti, I put my trust in you. Al Evoisha. Don't be me mevayish. I shouldn't be ashamed. Yeah, don't embarrass me. That means, Shelo Yevoishi, Velo Yekol Mi, Lo Netzach, Kol Achoisim Boch. Shouldn't be embarrassed. Then he says the Apterov, and on the way back it's Rosh Tevis, Ashrei Odom B'teach Boch. That's in the opposite way, Aleph Beis. Because the Yisod of Torah is Emuna and Bitochen. Now, so the mid of Tomim Tiyem Hashem Alekecho, that's the opposite of Doir HaFluga. Now, it's gewaldig, says the Bes Yosef. When the Torah speaks in the beginning of this parsha, he wants to give us a biography on Noach. on his whole lifetime. So the pasuk says you should know Noach was a tzaddik tomim b'deroi sov elosher rabim. In both generations of his, he was the opposite of the Rishonim. So in Doir HaMabul his Maila was tzaddik. In Doir HaFloge his Maila was tomim. So tzaddik tomim hoya b'deroi sov. When Hashem speaks to Noach to go into the Taiva, Hashem tells him, when I'm talking about this generation, Doir HaMabul, your Maila, your Shevach of being different than them is that you're a tzaddik. So that's why it still doesn't mention his Maila of Tomim. That's coming later. By Doir HaFluge, he is going to be different. He's going to stay righteous. So then his Maila is going to become Tomim. So when you speak about Doiroi Sov, both of his generations, both of his Doiris in his lifetime, Doir HaMabul and Doir HaFluge. In Doir HaMabul his Shevach was, his Maila was, he was opposite of all of them, he was a tzaddik. In Doir HaFluge he was opposite, he was a Tomim. So when you combine his whole lifetime, he was a tzaddik, Tomim b'deroisa. But when you speak about Noach in this generation, when he has to go into the Taiva, what's his Shevach? All of them are a hashchose, and he is a tzaddik. Ki oischor isi tzaddik lefonai ba'doir hazeh. When I speak about this generation, Doir HaMabul, your shvach is that you're a tzaddik. That's the shvach of this generation. Today was a Chodesh, I'm going to say. I want to say something that has shaykhis to Hal. They bring down a Medrash Peliyah, Medrash Anelo, this week's Parashat, Shnayim Bo El Noach. We see the Torah tells Noach that from the kosher behemoths, he should take 7 from each. From the non-kosher ones, 2. A zocher and a kaive. So the mean should stay. That this, how do you say mean in English? This
Species.
Species.
Type. Species.
This species. That it should stay, it should have akiyim. So it says, Shnayim Bo El Noach. Says the Medrash Anelom, the Medrash Peliyah, Eili Ayomim Shegoimrim Wen Esahal. Those are the days that you say the whole hour. Rosh Chodesh we don't say whole hour. Those are the days that you do say the whole hour. There's one Rosh Chodesh that you do say the whole hour. That's Rosh Chodesh Taivis, because it's the middle of Yom Tov Chanukah. And on Chanukah you say the whole hour. So that's why. And there's also a Rosh Chodesh that you don't say howl at all. You know which Rosh Chodesh? Shoshana, yeah. Unless you say the whole Tehillim, you do say howl. You don't say it as a howl. So it says like this. So what's the Pshat Shnayim Bu El Noach? Those are the days that you finish the whole howl. So the Chizuk brings down in the Sefer the Vashlefi in the name of Reb Shamshem Ostrepala. The Gemara says in Eirechen that there are 18 days of the year that you finish the whole howl. Which 18 days? The first day of Pesach, because the other days we only say half howl. Only the first day of Pesach. Shavuos 1 day, so this is 2 days. Sukkot all the 8 days. Sukkot we do say even Shmini Atzeret is the whole hour, so we're now up to 10 days. Now the 8 days of Chanukah, we also say the whole hour, so that's 18 days. Now in Chutz La'aretz, we have over there Sveike de Yoime. So the first day of Pesach is 2 days, and Shavuos is 2 days. And Sukkot, instead of being 8 days, it's over there 9 days because of Sveike de Yoime. Chanukah is 8 days. So it's together 21. 2 and 2, 9 and 8. Now there's even, if you're going to look in most of the Sidurim, in Chutz La'aretz, before Hal, they bring it down. They don't bring down the Gemara because in Gemara Eirechen it says 18 days. They bring down that the minig is 21 days, and the simon is Babetach. Babetach. Beis, Tesches. Beis is the first 2 days of Pesach. Beis 2 days of Shavuos. Test the 9 days of Sukkot as Chutz La'aretz. Ches is Chanukah. Now Reb Shamash Mosapala says, it says Gevaldik, Shnayim Bo El Noach. Shnayim is the 2 days of Pesach. Shnayim, first 2 days of Pesach. In Chutz La'aretz, Shnayim is the 2 days of Shavuos. Bo is Begematria 9. Beis Alavov, 9, that refers to the 9 days of Sukkot, with Simchas Torah. El Noach is Begematria 89, like Chanukah. El Noach is the same Gematria like the word Chanukah. So Shnayim Bo El Noach, those Eili Ayomim Shegoim Rebem Asahal. That's how he brings down. Now Stam, You could say, a nice remes, you found a pasuk, you put in a remes. We know that everything has to have a shtikl shaychis. We know that the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh teaches us that the whole parsha of Noach and the Taiva is a limud for davening. Taiva refers to the words. Taiva also has a definition, words. Every Taiva, yeah? Every word that you pronounce, you say. So the Baal Shem Tov says, Tzoyar Tasa La Taiva. The same as Noach had to put in an Evan Toiva to make shine the Taiva, lighten the Taiva, you should light up your words. The Taivas of your davening shouldn't be sleepy, and they shouldn't be dark, they should be full of light. Put in energy, put in your heart. Avoid the shebelev zitfila. With this, you light up your words. Tzoya ta'asa la taiva. Even more than that, the Baal Shem Tov wants to explain the pasuk. Boy ato v'chol beischa la taiva, that Hashem tells to Noach he should come in with his whole family into the taiva. That it also refers to davening. When you start davening, try to come to davening with all of your ramach and sheso. Kol atzmoisai tomarno Hashem micha moicha. Boy ato, you should come v'chol beischa, all of your avrim, your moyach, your lev, the ramach and sheso. El ateiva, put yourself into the words of the davening. They say that one of the Talmidim asked the Baal Shem Tov, the Rebbe, how could such a big person put himself into such a small word? So the Baal Shem Tov answered, the person who thinks about himself bigger than the word, I'm not even talking about someone like this. Even more than that, maybe we mentioned it once, in the Holy Sefer Beis Ahron from Karlin, in the beginning he has a few pages of Divrei Torah from his father, Reb Osher from Stoln. That his yahrzeit was on this Shabbos. Chavov Tishre was the past Shabbos, was the yahrzeit of Reb Usher Stolner, and he brings over there a medrash. He brings it down from Zohar HaKadosh. Zohar Chodosh he brings down. On this week's Parashat it says, "Vayim meketz arbuim yoim, vayiftach Noach es chaloin ateivo asher oso." We know that if you want something and you daven for it 40 days in a row, you could be Poel Yeshua. Reb Shlomke from Zevil, Zitzal, the Holy Zevil Rebbe used to tell people, if you want to have a salvation on a specific dag, go 40 days to the Koistel, Bikvias, day after day, non-stop, 40 days in a row, Beretzifis, and then you're going to be Zoichet to see a Gewaldige Yeshia. So it's known over here in Yerushalayim, this gul in the name of Reb Shlomke Zeviller. But it's already a Zohar Chodosh. The Zohar Chodosh, he doesn't speak about the Koisel, he speaks about the etzem idea, davening 40 days for something in a row. It has a koyach, a power to break through. So he brings down, Vayim miketz arboim yoim, it was at the end of the 40 days, Vayiftach Noach, over here refers to Hashem. Hashem is considered Kavyochel Noach. Hashem opens up as Chaloin HaTeva. When you daven, your Tevis Atfilah, you want to break through, after 40 days Hashem opens up the window and the Tefillahs go up and they are accepted by Hashem. So if we see so much in the Psikim that Teva refers to the words of Tefillah, now we could understand that if the Reb Shamshmas, the Pola, the Medrash brings down the Posik, Shnayim, Bo El Noach El HaTeva, so we could understand that it refers to the words of Hallel. Shnayim, bo el noach el ateva. In those days that you finish the whole Hallel, Shnayim, you have to see they should come into bo el noach el ateva. You could even be moisef, yeah. It says over there that they should be zochar and akeva. What's the pshat zochar and akeva? They should be moilit, pru erevu. The Agra de Pirke explains that in every mitzvah you could have pirya v'rivya by learning Torah. You're being mechadish, chedisha Torah. If it's pru ervu, so it could also by the taivus of tefillah, it could be pru ervu shnayim bu yal noach al ateva. There's a gewaldige story that I saw that the Rachmastrifke Rebbe Zechroine Levruche, Tzadik Levruche from America, that passed away not too long ago, maybe a year ago, maybe more than a year ago, 2 years ago. The Rachmastrifke Rebbe lived in Borough Park. They gave out from him a set called Amoris Toiris, nice Werter of Tzadikim that he brings down, and he's alone, Moisef. Over there he brings down from a Sefer Koil Yankiv, from one of the Gedolim in the past generation. He brings down a story. At once they were together sitting, the Heilige Abterov, the Oev Yisrael, together with the Savrainer Reb Moshe Tzvi from Savrain, together with the Gun of Keshenev. Reb Aryeh, they called him Reb Aryeh Lantziter, Reb Aryeh Leib from Lantzit, because he was first in Lantzit, then he was in Keshenev. He made the Sefer Gviris Aryeh. And the Abterov told the Keshenev Rov, he should say a Pesach Chiddush at the Bar Torah. And he told the Gewaldige Chiddush in Parshas Vayechi. It says in Parshas Vayechi that when the brothers of Yosef, they wanted it to be a Mephias, to, how do you say, to ask forgiveness? But how do you say Mephias? Apologize. They wanted it to apologize to Yosef Atzadik, and they tell him like this, Ono, Sono Fesha Avdei Elekei Avicha. That's why they tell him, where does it say? Oh, Ono Sono Fesha Achecho V'chatusom V'ato Sono Lefesha Avdei Elekei Avicha. And they want he should forgive them for what they did to him. He says like this, the Keshenever. We know that the Merkava in Shamayim, the Kisei HaKovod, has 4 tzuros. We see in Tanakh, Arba, the Mus Arbe La Kisei. And over there it says that the 4 tziras are Aryeh, Kruv, Nesher, Odom. But it says that before Yechezkel Hanovi, the tzura of Kruv was a shoyer. Only afterwards, Yechezkel davened, Chazal say, and he changed it from a shoyer into a Kruv. So first it was Aryeh, Nesher, Shoyer, Odom. Now who is shoyer? Shoyer refers to Yosef Atzadik. B'choyer shoyer Yehoda loy. Shoyer Yosef is assimilated? No, not assimilated.
Symbolized.
Symbolized. Oh, assimilated is something ganz nandish.
Don't want to go there.
Chaz v'sholem, yeah. Shoyer is symbolized to Yosef Atzadik. B'choyer shoyer Yehoda loy, symbolized to Yosef Atzadik. When was Yosef Zoiche that the tzura from Shoyer should be on the Kisei HaKovod? When he had the Nesoyen with Eishes Potiphar and he was Oymed ben Nesoyen. So they tell Yosef like this, Ono is Rosh Tevis Aryeh Nesher Odom. Sono is Rosh Tevis Shoyer Aryeh Nesher Odom. So they tell Yosef, look, after all, because we sold you to Mitzrayim, Yitaka had a very hard time over there, but look to what you were Zoiche. None of us had the Schia. Shoyer is now one of the Musa Merkava. Ono, it was only Aryeh Nesher Odom. So no, now it became Shoyer Aryeh Nesher Odom. Why? In case that we sold you to Mitzrayim and you had oil of the Nisyonis. So that was a reason why they wanted it to apologize Yosef. He should forgive them. Even more than that, they go on and they say, Sono lefesha avdei Elokei Avicha. It says Gevaldik, Elokei Avicha Rosh Tevis. You know there's a Gemara. Gemara says that Rav Yosef, one of the Ameruim, Rav Yosef, Shavuos, he made a big feast. He made the Egla Tilse. A good Gevaldik Yisuda, and he said, what's the reason? If not for this day, you know how many people there are in the streets with the name Yosef? I wouldn't be any different than them. I am now a big Talmud Chochem, the big Rav Yosef. Why? Because Hashem gave us the Torah and Shavuos. If not for this day, with what would I have been different than all other Yosefs in the streets? That's why he made the Gevaldige Sud on Yom Tov Shvius. He was so happy with this day that Kabbalah Satoire. Says the Keshenever Rebbe, Elohei is Rosh Tevis Ilav HaYoime. Elohei Ilav HaYoime. Avicha is Rosh Tevis Kamu Yosef Ike Beshuke. Avicha, not in the state there, a little bit mixed. Kamu Yosef, that's Chof Yud, Aleph Beis Ike Beshika. This is what they're telling him. If not for our selling you to Mitzrayim, you would be like another Yosef. You wouldn't have been Yosef Atzadik. Now you were Zoiche Sono, that one of the tzuras of the Merkava is Shoyer. So Ono, Sono, Fesha, Avdei Elokei Avicha, Ilav HaYoime Kama Yosef Ike Beshika. Now the Abteruf liked it very much. And he said, a gewaltige Hitbatut. He expressed himself. And he said, I'm sure that HaKadosh Baruch Hu took afar from Har Sinai, and from that he created the Kesher Neveguin. He saw last week, Vayitzer Hashem Alekim Asa Adam Ofa Mino Adomo. Hashem created Adam Rishon Ofa Mino Adomo. Rashi says, from where did he bring the Ofa Mino Adomo? Rashi says, one pshat that Hashem took from all four sides of the world Ofor. So like this, wherever a person is going to be nifter, the earth should accept him. It shouldn't expel him after he's being buried, because he is part of this earth. So wherever a person is going to be nifter, because he was created from offer from all sides of the world. Rashi brings another pshat that he was created from the offer from under the mizbeach. Hashem wanted it should be for Adam Rishon the mizbach kapore after he's going to do the aveira, so he created him from the offer of the mizbeach. So he said that Hashem took offer from the Har Sinai and he created from there the Kesher Neverebbe. That's how the Abterov says. Agav, I was this past Shabbos in Ahron, so someone told me over there that the Ramami Pano says that Adam Rishon was created from earth, from Iran. He says, Vayitzer Hashem Alekim Ofa Mino Adomo. Vayitzer is begematria Miran. Vayitzer. That's how the Ramami Pano says. Now we can understand it very good. We sing always on Bar Yechoi, we sing, Nasa Odom Nema Baverecha. What's the pshat? The definition is that when Hashem told the Maluchim, I want to create a human being, his mind Kavyochel was on Reb Shimon Bar Yechui. It's going to come out to Reb Shimon Bar Yechui. Nasa Odom Nema Baverecha. Bereshis. Bereshis Bora. What's Bereshis? Tana Eliki Reb Shimon Bar Yechui. Bereshis Bora. Hashem created B'schis Reb Shimon. So if Nasa Odom was said because of Reb Shimon Bar Yechoi, we can understand that Hashem created Adam Rishon from the afar of Biron. Now, the Savrain Ruv that also sat together with them, he didn't like so much this Chiddush. The reason was because he said, you take a word of Hashem's name Elokei, and you make from this Rosh Tevis, Ilav HaYoime. He didn't like the idea. You could make Rosh Tevis, but not when it comes to Hashem's name. Elokei Avicha, you take the word Elokei and you make it for a Rosh Tevis Ilav HaYoime. He didn't like it. So he said something not so gewaldig about this Chiddush. And the Abteruf didn't like what the Savrain Ruf said. And he told Savrain Ruf, no, I'm very upset on what you did now. Why did you like...
Diminish it.
Again?
Diminish it. Why did you make light of it?
Why did you diminish this word that the Kesher Neverebbe says? And he even told the Savrain Ruf, Tzavle Beischa, write Savua, because it won't take long and you're going to go away. And all people that were there sitting were like so afraid and so shocked. And they started asking the Abteruf that he should be moichel for the Savrain Ruf. And even the Kesher Neveguin told him, Rabbi, don't do this to the Savrain Ruf. So the Abteruf said, and then, you know what? If he is going to tell me a nice chiddush like yours, I'm going to forgive him. So the Savrain Ruf says, we see in Parashat Noach, Hashem tells Noach should make a taiva. And what were the measurements of the taiva? You know that?
Yeah, this is crazy. I think is it the Baal Tanya said this?
No, according to my story, it's from the Savrain Ruf.
It
says like this.
300 by 50 by 80.
He says, the length was shloish beis amo, 300 amo. Chamishim amo rachba was 50 amo was the width. The koima, the height was shloishim amo. And vel amo techaleno milmalo. You shouldn't finish off like this. You should finish off with a amo techaleno milmalo. What's those measurements, Dafke? Says the Savrain Ruf. The Pasuk says that the world was a mola or it's chomos. That was the ikir gezardin was on chomos. What's chomos? It says we know that even the tzad hatimah, if it wants to have a kiyim, it has to be yoinik. It has to be yoinik. How do you say yoinik? It has to draw. It has to draw from the tzad hakdisha chiyis, from the tzad hakdisha. That's why we know that even the word the Rosha, the reish ayin of the word the Rosha is from the tzad hatimah, ra, but the shiyin is from the shem shakai, and that's why it has a little bit of chiyas. The Rasha has a little bit of yanike. It draws from the kedusha. So the Noach is considered the Noach Akadmoini. So the Shein and the Nia from the Noach is from the kedusha, and only the Ois Ches, that's the Chizuk and the Toikif of the Tumah. That's the strong part of the Tzad Tumah is the Ois Ches. There's even a remes. Chazal say, Anochosh arsoi bein shinov. The poison in the mouth of Anochosh is between his teeth. He has over there a hole, and when he bites, comes out poison from over there. What's bein shinov? The ois ches is between the shin and the nian, between the shan, and that's the poison of the nochosh. That's the ches, the arse bein shinov. When it comes to the samach mem, also from the klippis, every malach has Aleph Lamed in the end of his name. Michael, Gavriel, Raphael. So the Samach Mem also, his name is Samach Mem Aleph Lamed. So the Aleph Lamed is from the Kedusha, and the Samach Mem is from the Tumah. So until there's still a Yanike from the Tzad Kedusha, the world could have a Kiyim. But over here was Kimola Oretz Chomos. They were so bad that they like separated themselves from the Kedusha, and they were only Ches from Nochosh, and Samach Mem from the Samach Mem Aleph Lamed. So they were Chomos, the whole world was Chomos. If that's the case, the world doesn't have a schuskim, it doesn't have an existence, it doesn't have an ability to exist if it's smaller or it's Chomos, because they were separated from the Kedusha. So Hashem tells to Noach, you know what, you go and make a taiva, and take the other letters, make the length is Shloish Me'es Amo, that's a Shein, 300. The width is 50 Amma, that's the Nian of Nochosh. The height is 30 Ammas, Lamed of Samach Mem Aleph Lamed. Vel Amo Techaleno Mel Malo, that's the Aleph. So you're going to have in your Teva, you're going to have all of the parts of the Kedusha. And like this, it's going to be separated. The world is Chomotz, is going to be a Mabel, it's going to be destroyed. And the Kiyam or Oilam is going to stay in your Teva that has a Shein and a Nia from Nochosh from the Kedusha, and the Aleph Lamed from Samach Mem, and that's going to stay that part of the Kedusha. I just want to finish with one small story and a nice word. It says over here in Posik that when the Mabel finished, it says over there in the Posik, it was Vahi ba'achad v'sheish meyes shono, 601 years l'chaye Noach. It was the first month, the first day of the Chodesh, and chorvu amayim ma'ala oretz. It dried up the water ma'ala oretz, and Noach took off the michse ateva, the cover of the teva, and it sees that the pneu adomo is dried already. The surface of the earth is dried already. So Noach took off the michse ateva. They say there was a nice story, a small story, when the king Franz Joseph, yeah, that's how you call him in English also, Franz Joseph, he was the king of Austria. How do you call? Yeah, Franz Joseph. He was how many years ago? Around maybe 200 years ago. He came for a visit to Eretz Yisrael, and he was good. He was a good king for the Jews, and everybody came out to be him mechabed. And at that time, they were in the middle of building in the old city, in the Iro Atika, the shul Teferes Yisrael, the Nissen Bakshil they called it. It was destroyed by the Melchemet HaShichrur. It was destroyed, and now they rebuilt it now. Nissen Bakshul they call it. Nissen Bak, he was the Rosh HaKehillah. He was the one in charge of building it. It was a shul that the whole religion started building, and then his son, the Sadiger Rebbe, he finished building the shul. Now, it was only normal that if he comes to visit the old city, you should take him around to see all the nice places. And this was considered one of the nice places. They were in the middle of building a nice, beautiful shul. But they didn't have enough money to finish, so the roof wasn't yet put up. The walls were done already, and a lot of the inside was already, but there wasn't the roof yet for the shul. Now when Franz Joseph came in, and the Rosh HaKehillah went together with him, and he was like looking up and asking, how come there's no roof over here? So Ditzebak was a smart, clever Jew, and he said the synagogue took off his hat for the king. You know, when you want to show for a king that you are So you take off your hat. Yeah, that's how you do it. So he said the synagogue took off the hat for the cover of the king. Franz Josef liked it, and he right away wrote a big check to cover the expenses to finish the roof. But the Chassidim over there didn't want to use his money from a goy, to finish the roof of a shul. So they used this money to build the toilets downstairs to finish, and they collected other money to finish the roof. But they didn't want the money from a goy, so they took it, but they made from this the toilets. So we see from this, that's a nice way of considering a melech is by taking off. Now, when was this story that Noach took off the Michsat Teva? It was in the first month, the first day. Rashi brings a machloikis Reb Lezer and Reb Shia if it was Aleph Tishrei or Aleph Nisan. The first month refers either to Tishrei, either to Nisan. We're going to go according that it refers to Aleph Tishrei. If it refers to Aleph Tishrei, that day we have to be Mamlech Hashem Yisborach. Yeah, Imri lefonai malchis Rosh Hashanah kedei shetamlechunei aleichem. Now the whole world, everything was destroyed. The only place where there was an existing world was in the Teva. So if Noach is in the Teva with all of the chayes, all of the behemoths, and it's now Rosh Hashanah, it's Borishoin Be'echad LaChodesh, the first month, the first day of the Chodesh. How could Noach make something to be Mamlech da Hashem on this whole Teva and the existing world? Vayosa Noach es bichsa Teva. He takes off the cover of the Teva. The synagogue takes off his hat. He's with that being Mamlech Hashem on this whole Teva and the whole world. A cute idea to explain the idea of Malchus that was on Rosh Hashanah. And even if you say it was Aleph Nisan, you could also say Aleph Nisan is Rosh Hashanah Lemlochim. And the Gemara explains that it means Lemalchi Yisrael. Malchi Yisrael, the Chassidish Sfurim explained the holy Apteruv and Parshas Boy that it refers to Hashem. Hashem is considered Meilech Yisrael V'Goy Aloi. So Aleph Nisan is the time of Rosh Hashanah Lemlochim, Meilech Yisrael V'Goy Aloi. So he came Noach and he took off the Bichsat Teva to be Mamlech Hashem Yisburech on the whole world. So we should all be zoiche to have a good chodesh and a good gebenched yor. And you should remember that in this week's parsha there is a posik Vatehi Reishis Mamlachte Bovel. When we speak about Nimrod, that he started off his kingdom, his mamlocha in Bovel. The Oil HaShomayim Reb Miilch from Apte says, in Parshas Nitzavim he brings it. He says, the first thing for a person, if he wants to be an Eved Hashem, to be Mamlech Hashem, he should learn Talmud Bavli. He should learn Gemara, Talmud Bavli. That's the first Zach Vati Reishis Mamlachtoi. If you want to be Mamlech Hashem Yisborach on yourself, the Reishis should be Bavli. You should learn Talmud Bavli. Now all the yeshivas start back learning Talmud Bavli, or the Koilelim start now learning. So it should be Atzlocha de Gizman, should be Reishis Mamlachtoi, a Gid Geben Stewart, all the best. Shabbos.